All right, what's up, people? Hopefully you're having an amazing day. And, I forgot to turn my light on. Holy crap, we have to do that. Okay, let's do the light, and then we're going to rock and roll. Since this is a live, I'm not going to wait that long for people to get on, because some of you are going to catch the live when it's a replay. So we're going to start rocking and rolling. But if you, actually this is going to my public, or my Facebook page, so you probably all have a rough idea of who I am, hopefully. I'm Zach Spear. This is coming to you from Southern California right now in the Vista, Carlsbad, San Diego County. So that's where we're at right now. We're officially on a home, stay-at-home, whatever, lockdown order, whatever you want to call it. And we can go out for groceries and for walks in the park and things like that. So the idea is to, stop the spread of the virus. So we're abiding by that by working at home. So we have a home-based business, of course, but we have our own office for our home-based business, which is kind of counterintuitive to some, but it helps us a lot. But we actually can't go to it right now. So the office is locked. We could open the doors, get some things out of there, but we're working from home. Anyway, I want to talk to you guys today about how to make money during the coronavirus, and there's nothing for sale. So you can leave your checkbook on the floor, you can leave your wallet somewhere else. You don't have to feel like you're going to get pitched anyway, because you're not. But we have seen this kind of thing happen before. We've also done well over the past couple weeks since the hysteria started, and I wanted to share some of the stuff with you. And I also wanted to give you kind of some peace and some hope about what's going on right now, because I think there's so much panic going on that some people are looking for some hope to grasp on. I just want to talk to you about that. Okay, so let's just jump straight into it. How to make money during the coronavirus. There's nothing for sale here, so it's all good. The first point I want to cover is that, yes, I believe it is real. I believe it's an actual virus. It is actually contagious. It's actually deadly. And it's actually not a good thing, right? I do believe that it's actually real. That being said, I'm not going to get into my personal feelings about the virus or about the things that are happening because of it or people's overall reaction to it in a lot of ways. I'm going to leave my personal feelings for another video of some kind. At the same time, I have a bit of a very deep thinker, and so when you're a deep thinker and when you really don't take anyone's word for anything, you critically judge everything, you can tend to have this subset of a personality that wears a tinfoil hat, the conspiracy theorist inside your own mind. And I don't know, I've never named that split personality of mine, but he wears a tinfoil hat. And during the rest of the year, he comes up probably every week, and I'm usually able to suppress him and kind of keep him quiet and go about my daily life without freaking out or going down a rabbit trail. But right now, Mr. Tinfoil Hat is freaking out all the time. He constantly wants to say something, he constantly wants to talk, and he constantly wants to go down rabbit trails. For our video today, I'm not going to let him talk. Okay, I'll do my best not to let him talk. He's not going to really come out. I'm also going to leave my personal feelings out of most of this. We're just going to look at numbers and data. That's really all we're going to do, and they paint a pretty positive story, by the way. So that being said, about it being real, I'm going to leave most of my personal feelings out of this. Bottom line is use some common sense right now, okay? I don't think you have to go freaking nuts right now. You just have to live healthy. So just like you normally would. Don't be around sick people. If someone has the flu, I don't hang out with them while they've got the flu. I hang out with them after they've gotten over the flu. Live healthy. Like right now, I don't understand the obsession with toilet paper. I don't get it, because if everyone, I understand that a lot of businesses closed, but those kinds of businesses didn't. So I'm a little bit confused as to why there's a frenzy with toilet paper. I think it's kind of stupid. But the thing that's interesting regarding the toilet paper thing is the store. So we went to the store the other day, and I was thinking it would be completely wiped out, because I'd seen these pictures, I'd seen horror stories and stuff like that. And we would go to the store, and the whole middle section is wiped out, the perishable items, but the whole outer perimeter is not. The fresh foods, the vegetables. I went to the store yesterday. I got ribeye steaks. I got fresh meat to make burgers with. We got all of this stuff. And the bottom line is live healthy. Like I don't have to be a health professional to tell us all to live healthy. I think that's a common sense type of thing. Progresso soup and canned goods aren't going to keep us healthy. They'll keep us. We'll survive. But let's just live healthy and continue to build those immune systems, because that's really what combats this thing right now, is healthy immune systems. So first thing is just use common sense, live healthy, don't be around sick people. If this is as contagious as we're told, which by the way has a contagion factor of 4, which is, we'll leave that, again, that's a personal feeling. Okay, I'm going to get out of it. But that's actually a fact. There's a contagion factor of 4. But let's just say it is highly, highly contagious. Just don't be around sick people, okay? And live healthy. Let's move on to the core of this. It's going to be okay, all right? It's going to be okay. What I want to do right now is look at other pandemics and health scares. And the reason I want to do this is because I'm not a health professional by any stretch of the imagination. Yes, we live healthy because we've been blessed to be able to buy healthy food, work out, we take it seriously, but I'm not a doctor by any stretch of the imagination. I don't have any sort of degree in that field or any kind, but I do know how to look at numbers and basic level data. And a lot of times, people that disrupt industries are from outside the industry, meaning they don't know the preconceived notion inside of it. So that's why a lot of times you'll see someone come in from an outside industry and revolutionize it because they don't know all the constructs that have been placed in there before. Now, we're not trying to revolutionize the health industry by any means, but I don't have the luxury or disadvantage of being super far into the health stuff, so I can just look at numbers with a pretty unbiased perspective. So here's a few numbers for you, talking about health scares and pandemics. The Black Plague, or the bubonic plague Black Death, killed 200 million people in the 1300s. 200 million people. Smallpox killed 56 million people in 1520. The Spanish flu in the 1900s was 40 to 50 million deaths. The plague of Justinian was 30 to 50 million. AIDS, which is still going on today, of course, is 25 to 35 million. That's a today thing. The Third Plague, 12 million. The Anton Plague, 5 million. 17th century plagues, 3 million. Asian flu, 1.1 million. Russian flu, 1 million. Hong Kong flu, 1 million. Cholera 6, outbreak, 1 million. Japanese smallpox, 1 million. 18th century Great Plague, 600,000. Swine flu, 200,000. Yellow fever, 100 to 150,000. Ebola, 11,000. And that brings us to the coronavirus, which, as of a few days ago when I took this data, 6,400. Now, I know it's a little bit up from that, but it's already being contained in some of the eastern parts of the world. 6,400. 6,400 was the total death count as of a few days ago. 6,400. That is a far, far cry from anything else that's going on, or that has gone on. So, this is not the first time that we've dealt with anything. I mean, I just told you about yellow fever and Ebola, right? I mean, Ebola is even bigger than this right now. So, just based on looking at that stuff, from a health perspective, it looks like it's all going to be okay, and this isn't that huge of a thing. You know, if you look at just basic numbers, you know, we're in California right now, and California has a population of 40 million people. As of yesterday, I read they confirm, I think I'm talking about Illinois. So California had their, I think, 19th confirmed death. 13th or 19th confirmed death in all of California. There's 40 million people, and there's 13 to 19 people that have passed away. Now, I'm not trying to minimize the sadness of that, okay? If I had a family member that passed away from this, I would be devastated. I'm not trying to minimize what has happened in any stretch of the imagination. I absolutely feel for those people, and we very much care about that. But I am trying to just kind of paint a picture. Illinois is where we came from, Chicago. My families in Illinois, their state just kind of got the stay-at-home order placed. There's 13 million people in Illinois, and they just confirmed their fourth death yesterday. And that was a person in their late 60s who had previous health conditions. Now, let's compare that to the flu, the regular flu. Well, the regular flu kills 70,000 people per year in the United States. 70,000 people per year in the United States. If you do the math on that, that's 191 people per day. So the regular flu kills 191 people per day in the United States, and if I got the flu, no one would freak out, right? I might even still go to work, right? You might. The regular flu, we all live with it, yet it kills 191 people a day, and the total death count in the United States is barely at that total. So just kind of give you some perspective on that, okay? And I'm not trying to minimize any of the thing that's going on, but I am trying to, again, give some perspective on this. So we're going to look at that. The third thing is the actual, what's happening in the economy, the economics behind this. The first thing I want you to realize is that the coronavirus didn't directly cause an economic problem. People's bad choices from their panic from the coronavirus is causing an economic problem. Aside from the shutdown, don't get me wrong, when businesses are getting shut down, that's a huge issue. I'm talking about the stock market and a lot of things like that. So the coronavirus is causing panic, and it's causing a lot of individuals to make bad choices, which is causing a lot of economic unrest. Outside, of course, of a small pizzeria or a coffee shop or a restaurant, or obviously these are different types of stories. But from a macro perspective, bad choices is leading to an economic unrest, or what we call an aberration, a market aberration. That's a difference in the normal flow of things. That's an aberration. Now, a market aberration can lead to a recession. Now, we're not in a recession yet, and I'm going to tell you why. But first thing I want you to know about a recession is they're expected. In fact, since the Articles of Confederation were signed for the United States, we've had a recession on average every 8 years. You can look this, everything I'm talking about, you can look this up yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Every 8 years since the Articles of Confederation, we've had a recession. I'm just going to go through a few of them. 73, the oil crisis, 80, 81, 90, 2000, 2008. That's roughly every 8 years. What about Y2K? You guys remember Y2K? If you're old enough to remember, actually have memories from this, people were ravaging the stores. They were building bunkers, literally bunkers. Right now, people are ravaging the stores. It's actually a little bit less than it was, but people were ravaging the stores. But we're not at the bunker stage yet. Hopefully, we don't get there. But we've been here before as a society. Excuse me, would you mind grabbing my water, please? We've been here before as a society. So, recession. What does a recession mean? Thank you. What does a recession mean? A recession means a downward growth trend, or a negative growth trend, percentage-wise, in the GDP of a country, gross domestic product. So the overall output of a country is called gross domestic product. If it goes downwards for 2 consecutive quarters, I mean 6 months, 2 consecutive quarters, we are officially in a recession. Now, I have it written as good here. I'm going to tell you why that's good in a moment. But a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of a downward growth curve. Let's give you some perspective. Obama's worst year. Now, I have nothing against Obama, but Obama was president during what we would call the Great Recession, 2008, 2009, all that stuff, right? So his worst year during the Great Recession, when everyone was blowing their minds, the Great Recession, the gross domestic product of the United States went down by 2.5%, 2.5%. Let's give you some more perspective. The gross domestic product, or GDP, of the United States is $15 trillion. Now, $15 trillion is a very hard number to wrap your head around. Let me tell you exactly what that means. 1 trillion seconds ago was 31,709 years. 1 trillion seconds ago was 31,000 years ago. To put some contrast on that, 1 billion seconds ago was 31 years, roughly, 31 to 33 years. I forgot the exact number, but 31 to 33 years. Let's call it 33. So 1 billion seconds ago was 33 years. 1 trillion seconds ago was 31,000 years. This is a drop in the bucket because 2.5% of this equals a $37.5 billion loss of market value. That legitimately means that $37.5 billion in Obama's worst year did evaporate. It was no longer business that we could take advantage of. $37.5 billion, that's a lot of money, but it's only 2.5% of 15 trillion. It's only a 2.5% loss of 15 trillion. That means that there was still available $14.625 trillion of GDP in the United States during the Great Recession. Did you know that there's more millionaires minted or created that have their beginnings in a recession than any other time throughout history? In fact, most of the companies you do business with got their start in a recession or immediately preceding one. Google, Apple, Facebook, IBM, GE, Groupon, all of these companies started in a recession or right after one. More millionaires are minted right now, and I'm going to tell you why in a moment, but here's the very most basic sense of what you can do, what you should do, and what you need to do. See, people that lose in a recession are focused on the 37.5 billion. I call this the loser focus. Now, they're not actually losers, but they're going to lose in this market aberration. They're focused on 37.5 billion, the loss. The winners are focused on what can I do to capture a piece of the $14.625 trillion. That's what they're focused on, okay? Now, during a recession, this is a contraction of the marketplace. Now, this is actually a huge opportunity for you. I'm going to prove that for you right now. This is an example I took from a man named Diego Rodriguez, very smart guy. This is an opportunity right now to soak up the market. Here's an example. Let's say that you own a pizzeria. And let's say in the place that we're at, there's 10 pizzerias. So the township that we're in can sustain 10 pizzerias during a good economic climate. So that means that, people are buying pizzas, all the time, and that town sustains 10. In a recession, especially something like this, where companies are, needing their cash flows diminished, they're kind of getting screwed out of a lot of their cash, it sinks. But when this kind of contraction happens, some of those pizzerias are going to have to close. So let's say 4 of them close in this recession. Well, that means there's 6 left. And if these 6 can be creative, I'm going to talk about a few things that something like that could do to be creative, to weather the storm. If they can weather the storm and make it through the recession, here's what happens. Number 1, they're going to stay in business during the recession. So they get to feed their family, they get to survive, they get to still pursue their dream, because most likely they risked everything to open the pizzeria, so they still get to pursue their dream. That's obviously benefit number 1. But number 2, and the opportunity to soak up the market, looks like this. When the recession ends, which if we go into an actual recession, it's expected number 1, and it always ends number 2. Don't think for a second. The only way that we don't come out of this is if there is some type of world-altering event, like the United States goes on full-blown martial law and we turn into a 100% communistic, socialistic country, then everything that I said is off. But assuming that we don't go into a complete downward trend of 100% communism, we will bounce out of this because we have over 250 years of proving that. So the market always comes back in that case. What that means is it always comes back. So in 3 months, it might not. In 5 months, it might not. But in 6 to 12 months, it will. So you have your 6 pizzerias, and there's 4 of them that are gone, and guess what? The market came back. Now what happens? Well, now the very best pizzerias, which was those 6, soak up the market share where 10 pizzerias used to be. The township proved that it could sustain 10 pizzerias in a good economy, but there's only 6 now. And those 6 are going to soak up 10 pizzerias market share. Now, it doesn't usually happen as 6 soak up 10. It usually happens where 1 or 2 soaks up the 4. So, because the best soaks up the rest. So in this time, you want to be the best and you want to be the last. Be the very best at what you do and last the longest. Because if you can be the name in what you do now, when the market comes back, which it always does, then when the market comes back, you'll soak up all the things that were lost. And your marketplace, wherever industry you're in, it has proven to sustain you plus your competitors in a good time. So if your competitors go out of business, they're gone, and only you're left as the best one, and you're the last one. When the market comes back, you'll absorb all of the business that your competitors were doing. And that's how businesses explode because of a recession. This is an opportunity if you focus on the $14.625 trillion. In fact, our business particularly, now we run a home-based business in the wealth creation space. We've seen a 500% application increase earlier this week. That's what we saw, 500% application increase. This is a stat particularly about our business. I'm not going to necessarily give this to you right now because I don't want to make this feel like a pitch or anything, but we have some people doing quite well right now in the industry that we're in. Now I'm going to talk to you about what you can do right now to make this a reality. So I'm going to bring up my other whiteboard here. Probably should have had this thing flipped around, but it's okay. Hopefully you didn't read it. I know you didn't because you're such a good student. So here's what to do. If you want to survive the recession and soak up market share. By the way, we're not in a recession yet, so just so you know. But if you want to survive this panic attack and the recession, soak up the market share, this is what to do. Number one, observe the masses and do the opposite. Okay. I heard this from a mentor of mine about over 10 years ago, and he said, observe the masses and do the opposite. Now, that's fairly obvious to me all the time, but right now it's really obvious. So, if the masses in your industry market a certain way, watch what they're doing and do the opposite. The masses get mass results. Average results is not that good. In fact, average results in business typically means that you are barely surviving. The 80%ers barely survive, the 20%ers do well, and the top 5% thrive. So the masses aren't going to get you where you want to go. So observe the masses and do the opposite. What are the masses doing right now in your industry? Well, most people are pulling way back. They're like, they're scared. They're holding on to the little bit of money they've got. They're not doing anything. They're crouching in the corner. They're watching the news every 4 seconds. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Right? That's what the masses are doing. I'm not saying the news is bad. I'm not saying saving is bad, but that's what they're doing with the majority of their time. They're hoarding. They're stopping. They're slowing down. They're not doing a whole lot. What's the opposite? The opposite is taking more action right now, doing more than they are right now, which is not that hard to do right now, to do more than your competition. Do more. There's a quote, Grant Cardone, 10x. If you were making 10 sales calls a day, do 100 right now. If you were spending $50 on ads a day, spend 100 right now, or spend 500 if you can. If you were spending $5 a day, spend 50. 10x your activity level, because right now your competition is getting out of the way. Imagine a highway being slammed down 5-6 lanes full of cars. You're in a red Corvette. Don't even like Corvettes that much, but you're in a red Corvette. The highway's slammed with cars, and you're all going to your destination. Well, you'll get there eventually. That's what it's like in a good economy. You can be a piece of crap car and still make it to your destination. You can be a dead fish and float downstream. You can probably still make it and not be that good. But there's also it takes a lot more effort to get around the competition. Even if it's a little turd nugget car driving down the road and you're in a red Corvette, it takes a lot of meandering to get around the traffic to start going fast. Right now, all these people are getting off the highway, and you can start barreling down the road way faster than before because you've got less traffic in your way. Number two, if you're in a red Corvette, you're really obvious. This is an amazing time to be omnipresent in your marketplace. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you sell pillows or mattresses, or if you sell executive recruiting services, or if you sell warranty programs, or if you sell wealth creation programs. This is the time where you can be the loudest, the person that's always on someone's mind in your marketplace. This is the time for 10x action. Once again, 500% increase earlier this week because of what is going on right now. Okay, number two, opposite marketing. Let's keep using the pizzeria example for a second. There's a pizzeria right down the street here. That's it's fresh on my mind, and Diego used the pizzeria example in something that he did. Pizzeria over here down the street. What are they doing right now? Well, they're hanging on for dear life, and I hope that they make it. Sincerely hope that they make it. They're holding on. But what are they doing? They're there with the door open that says an open sign, and there's barely any traffic that's coming through, which is very difficult to do business in, and no one can come sit at the store. Also very difficult. But that's what they're doing. That's okay. But that's what everyone else is doing too in the restaurant business. So what does opposite marketing look like? Well, opposite marketing would be doing something that's completely opposite for that industry. So for let's say a roofing company right now. Roofing company, what they do to generate business a lot of times is they go knock on doors, they go look at the roof, and they try to sell you a roof. Okay, that's a roofing company. So if I want to go knock on doors as a roofer, I am doing the same thing that all the other roofing companies are doing. I'm probably not going to pierce the marketplace because I'm doing the expected thing that industry does. But if I was a roofer and I did something, let's say, entirely different than knocking on doors, I might be able to pierce the market. With the pizzeria example, they don't knock on doors. And especially right now, no one's knocking on doors. Now, in California, this might not work for them. I have a different idea for someone in California or Illinois, because you got to stay at home right now. But here's an example for a pizzeria that's not in a lockdown state. Go knock on doors. Walk up with a thing of hand sanitizer and a roll of toilet paper and say, hey, I've been tested for COVID-19 and I'm completely clean. In fact, I've come bearing gifts, and I also wanted to hand you a buy one get one free pizza that you can use anytime during this shutdown. Or I wanted to give you a thing that's, whatever discount. Bang. How many people are you think are going to think about them when they're hungry tonight, especially when they don't want to fight at the store? How many people will think of that pizzeria instead of fighting at the store? Probably everyone. Do opposite marketing. Opposite marketing. If I was in a lockdown state right now, I would do something online. Pizzerias don't do that kind of thing online. You could write an ad, spend $5-10 a day on it. Say the same thing. Everyone here has been tested for COVID-19 and we're completely, tested negative. Same exact thing. Buy one, get one free pizza and you get a free roll of toilet paper. No one's doing that right now. It's opposite. It pierces the market and do 10x action. Number 2, go where the money is. Don't serve the needy, give it to them. Here's what I mean. In a time like this, a lot of people are obviously, they're saving, they're constricting their buying power, all of that stuff. A lot of people, especially in the industry that we're in, the wealth creation industry, will exploit a time like this to try to gain a marketing advantage by saying, hey, you don't want to be in this position again, type of thing, you should come make money. And that's fine, sort of, if you position it correctly, but some people exploit it in a negative sense. But that's a bad business practice anyway. Why? Because if someone's in a really fragile position right now, they don't have money to spend anyway. So right now, you shouldn't focus on people that are highly affected financially for your business. So I'm thinking right now about like people in the service industry, waiters, the travel industry, hotel people, all this kind of stuff. They're being really affected bad right now. And man, I feel for them. We have we can help them, but we're not going to try to sell to them. So don't cater your business to people that are highly affected right now. Cater your business, change, pivot, whatever you want to call it. Move to people that have money to invest or use and that want to use it on your thing. And there's always people that are unaffected. In every scenario, in this economic panic, you can do your own research. I'm not going to get my tinfoil hat on, but there have been people that have made mass amounts of money because of the panic, because of shorting the stocks of certain companies. Just saying. The point is, there's always people that have money in any economy. That includes today. What you need to do is go where the money is. That being said, if you have a heart for people that are in need, so do I. My business can't cater to them, because if I try to serve the needy, I become needy because they don't have it. So what I need to do is become successful, and if I want to give to the needy, I can give to the needy out of my abundance, out of my extra, not because I'm trying to take from the needy for something they don't actually need. Does that make sense? Go where the money is. This being the case, I learned this in the past couple years, and I wish I would have learned this 10 years ago, but I learned this in the past couple years. This has been probably the biggest singular lesson that I've put together, or that I've learned and put into practice. That is, it takes the same amount of effort to sell a $20,000 product as it does a $200 product. That might sound crazy to you. You might not believe me, but I can guarantee you, I can promise you this. I spent my first 6, 7, 8 years in business selling a $200 membership package. Today, we sell packages that start at $2,000 to $3,000 and go up to $25,000 or $100,000. That's what we sell today. I'll tell you this flat out. If you're talking to the right person, it takes the same amount of effort to sell the big package as it does the little package. The same amount of effort. Do you know how much money you make on the $200 package? Virtually nothing. You know how much money you make on a $2,000 or $3,000, $4,000 package? $5,000, $10,000 package? A lot more than nothing, right? So if you have expensive products with lots of margin in them, focus on those and focus on the right target, because it's going to take the same amount of effort. 10x action, opposite marketing. and you'll be okay. You can soak up some market share. The last thing is push the hot buttons that are available to you. What I mean by that is right now everyone's conversation is about the virus and what it's doing to society. And that's leading us mentally to think about certain things. We're thinking about, what am I going to do with my money? Do I have money? We're thinking about, am I going to be healthy, right? We're thinking about, when can I go to the store? What's allowed right now, right? We're thinking about all of these things. So hot buttons would be things about safety, things about online. That's why I talked about using an online example for the pizzeria. In our business, the industry that we're in, talking about building online has always been sexy over the past few years, but now it's super sexy because people that used to do our industry in a face-to-face manner can't do it anymore. And since we have been positioning ourselves as the online authority in this industry for a year or two, we're right in our wheelhouse right now. But you might not be in your wheelhouse because you might not have been doing that type of a business model, right? That's okay. But my point is focus on online. Focus on something online. You don't have to change industries necessarily, but how do you do your business online in an opposite way? Do that. That's hot button right now. Safety. Talk about safety. Right? People want to make sure that they're safe. They want to make sure that their kids are safe. Talk about that. Remember the pizzeria ad example? Everyone here has been tested for COVID-19. All tested negative. Everyone's good to go. Here's sanitizer. Here's toilet paper. We come bearing gifts. Safety. The toilet paper thing is stupid, but people think they're going to run out of it. And so if I've got it, I feel safe. Safety. Last thing, nest egg. There's more, by the way, but nest egg, people are caring about their economic position. If you can, depending on your industry, talk about a nest egg. Talk about how this isn't going to be a risk for them financially. Do risk reversals in every sense that you can. Hey, you can take this, put this in your house, and if XYZ takes place, you can bring it back. Or if XYZ takes place, I'll come and redo it, or I'll come and replace it, or whatever the case is. Think about it intelligently, though, because you have to factor in refund rates and things like that. But remember, people care about their nest egg. They care about their finances. So if you can reverse the risk for them in a time like this financially, that's a really, really good thing. Can you break up your thing into payment plans? Can you take a deposit and take a chunk of payments? Something that we started to test out is allow people to invest with a smaller amount called a deposit. We give them a portion of the product, and when they pay off the rest, they get the rest. They're incentivized to pay it off, but they can also start today, and we can also start doing business with them today. Talk about these different hot buttons. Cool? All right. Well, hopefully this is helpful, you guys. Like I said, to recap, I think it's all going to be okay. All right. From a health perspective, we've been through lots of things before. If you look at the past 20 years, I won't tell you the exact time frame that these have happened because it will potentially put a tinfoil hat on, but in the past 20 years, we've had about 6 to 8 to 10 outbreaks of different kinds. Swine, Ebola, SARS, things like that. This is the same capacity as we're talking right now, roughly, but there's more extreme measures being taken place. The bottom line is it seems that we're all going to be okay from a health perspective, especially when you look at some of the pandemics that have actually occurred in the past. Number two, from an economic perspective, assuming no sort of absolute world as we know it currently ending, complete shutdown forever, the economy will bounce back. It always does. It always has since the Articles of Confederation in the United States, and it's happened every 8 years on average since then. It's all going to be okay. So we believe it's all going to be okay. Assuming that's the case, your goal is to be the very best in your marketplace, in your industry. This is how you do it, and be the last. Because if you're the last, when the market bounces back, you'll soak up the share. Sound good? So the camera's going to get turned off for me right now, and this is awesome spending some time with you guys here today, and really grateful for the time here. Thanks so much, and hopefully you have an amazing day. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon. See you later.